Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Life I'm Gonna podcast, guys. Still on for four competitions. Arsenal two, Mansfield one. The game was a bit cagey, as always when you face opposition from the championship. These guys, as many people have said before, are fighting for their livelihoods. They're fighting to pay their mortgage. They're fighting to get seen. To be honest with you, to get seen by to make a um, just to play well and to be seen by a lot of the top teams. So probably moving to the Premier League to have an impact, to probably get a move abroad. You never know, right? They're looking to expand their horizon, guys, and as a consequence, you see a lot of good displays from the Mansfield players. Apparently, I don't know, but I heard that they were fighting some kind of relegation battle in the championship and they're fighting to stay up. So for them to be in a situation like that and for them to come and to show themselves in this way against Arsenal, um, it kind of is interesting. It's kind of interesting that a team that is capable and is obviously capable because that's what they showed us today is fighting relegation in the championship. You figure more or less a team that showed what they showed today would be in a better position, maybe fighting to get promoted or at least mid table. Um, that kind of tells you a lot about football. But anyways, guys, overall performances. First of all, we move, and this is a positive video. We're not going to go into the all the nuances and all the things that should have been. There were a lot of chops and changes, a lot of fringe players, quote unquote, were able to come in. By the way, Norgard is my man of the match, and I feel like every game that Norgard plays, he stakes a higher and higher claim as to why he should be playing more frequently for Arsenal. Um, he showed a lot of composure in the defensive third. He was basically the shining light, to be honest with you, because I felt like the entire team was all over the place in all their respective roles. And I know that when you make a lot of chops and changes, and when especially when you play a lot of inexperienced young players, then you don't really see that free flowing, perfect football, and that is going to be a little bit, nervy. But he was definitely that Gabriel Magalas type player that was trying to get like get the players on a level of control. And he looked amazing again in the offensive third. I thought that um, his passes were very precise. A lot of flips and tricks that honestly, since I think a couple of games ago when he did it, I was very surprised, and he continues to show us that he has us in his locker, which is very good to see. Because if we were to, for argument's sake, knock on wood, knock on wood, guys, I don't want this to happen, but if something was happening to women, at least we know that there's a player out there that is not Sumbimendi in every sense of that profile, but is somebody that is capable of playing that role to some level of competence. Um, and that is very reassuring. As somebody who is not overly injury prone as well, so somebody that we can possibly count on. And we don't have that many games left, to be honest with you, especially in the English Premier League. There's just 8 games left. But anyways, guys, we move. Another competition. I think Arteta said he didn't really care how we won as long as we won. It was good to see a lot of players continue to get the opportunity to play for Arsenal. Marley Salmon, Max Dorman. Marley Salmon had a little bit of an incident, but we look past that. To be honest with you, it's not really that big of a deal. I mean, I felt like Mosquera, and I was surprised that Mosquera got beaten by his man. I felt like Mosquera should have, showed him away from the goal at minimum, but should never have been beaten. Mascara, a player of Mascara's quality. I mean, that is, I wouldn't have that down as a Marley Salmon mistake. This is a careless pass, but I feel like, there was a player there that should have dealt with that. But anyways, it was, and there was that other youngster who was able to. I need to become more familiar. I know a lot of the young players. I need to become more familiar with the academy players. But there was another player who was able to get his debut for Arsenal. And this season, unlike previous seasons, Arsenal have been showing a higher degree of willingness to offer debuts to young players. Obviously, you have to know when to do it, and they're doing it at the right time. Um, but in the Champions League, in the Premier League, in the FA Cup, Carabao Cups, in the different competitions that, they're showing a willingness to play some of these young players. Um, Great goal, by the way, two great goals. The performance overall wasn't great, but the goals were the highest order. Madueke, Eze, um, phenomenal stuff. And I thought Eze was really impressive. There's some things that really need to get fine-tuned in Madueke's game for him to take it to the next level. And I think he will get there. It's definitely been better than that we've seen earlier in the season. I will get there. He just needs to get a little bit more coaching. Um, in decision making primarily. When you beat your man, the urgency that you should have to get past him and have him out of the way, or to get that pass off, and not to always beat and then beat him again. And how many times are you going to beat him? You beat him already. Get away from your man and make an incisive pass. Um, lay off, get the ball into the box, whatever it is. But anyways, guys, 2-1, and we move. We were able to give very key, important players, and I spoke about this in my last video. Players like William Saliba, Gabriel Magalas, players like Victor Gyökeres, players like Eze, players like Zubimendi and Rice, players like Saka and Timber. I know they played in Kapia, I know they played, but they didn't play from the start. And that makes a big difference, especially with Saka and Timber. They came on in the second half. Um, I would have preferred for Nkapie not to have come onto the field that early, but it was a necessary change because we needed to add, reintroduce structure to the defense, because we were losing the battle in midfield and it was causing us to get overloaded in defense. So it was necessary to add Nkapie to move Calafiori into defense so we can have some kind of normalcy to help to help midfield with some of what was going on. But anyways, guys, my man of the match, Norgard. Um, I thought Madueke had a decent game. I want to see more. By the way, guys, it was so weird to me that Mikel Arteta would want to start three of his main wingers in a game against Mansfield. I thought it was just very weird. I would end up suffering as a consequence of, why would you play Trossard? You didn't have to play him. Why would you play Trossard, Madueke, and Martinelli? If one of them get injured, then, like, you know what I mean? Which is what happened today. It does mean that we will be short and winger. I know we have Max Dorman back, and I'm thank God for that, because you know, I don't know what or how long Trossard will be out for. And at this stage in the season, I want to kind of try to just avoid situations like that where we have players playing players foolishly in games that we don't need to be playing them, only for them to get injuries. Like, we need to manage the squad very, very, very efficiently at this point. Anyways, guys, let me know who your man of the match is in the comment section down below. Let me know what you thought about the game. What did you get the starting lineup right? What would you have done differently? Yeah, and peace and love, guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Come on, you guys!